Hey everybody, I want to do a quick video on rotations. I've done a video on reflections, on translations, so I want to do one on rotations, and then later I'll do a video on sequence of transformations. So there are really three types of rotations I want to deal with. The first one is a 90 degree, and I'm going to try to flatten this out, 90 degree clockwise rotation. Now that is the same thing as, so you may have seen that as a 270 degree counterclockwise. Those two mean the same thing. So it may ask you to do a 90 degree clockwise rotation, or it may ask you to do a 270 counterclockwise rotation. Those two mean the same thing. Okay? And the rule for that, so the rule is where you're going to be able to kind of solve this, is the point xy, so that's a general point, will become y negative x. Now what does that mean? What that means is you'll notice that you have xy, whereas now you have yx. So in other words, the point are going to switch positions. Wherever's here is going to go here, and whatever's here is going to go here. But also, once this changes positions, it also changes signs. So the y goes to the x position, doesn't change. But the x goes to the y position and changes sign. So I'm actually going to show you how you would do that with this problem here. So point I, I'm going to go ahead and list the points first. So I is, let's see, -4, -1. A is -3, -4. And then C is -1, -4. So the first thing I know is that they switch positions. So the x goes here, and then the y goes here. So we're going to switch them. So with I prime, I know that we're going to switch the two. But what goes here, so that x, which was -4, when it goes here, it's also going to change its sign. So instead of being -4, it's going to be +4. So the way I do this is I first flip them. So instead of -4, -1, it's -1, -4. And then whatever's here, I just change the sign. So with like A prime, I'm going to switch them. So instead of -3, -4, it's -4, -3. And again, whatever's here, I'm going to just change its sign. Same thing with C. C prime, again, I switch them. -4, -1. Whatever's here, change the sign. And now I'm going to graph these points. So I'm going to graph -1, 4, -4, 3, and -4, 1. So -1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be I prime. -4, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So that is A prime. And then C prime is -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that point would be a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise. And I'm actually going to show you real quick how you can check yourself. Let's choose, I'm going to choose C here because I think that'll be the easiest. If I was to draw a line from C to the origin, and then from the origin, this is where C prime is, by the way, and from the origin to C prime, what angle does that make? Well, it makes a 90 degree angle. And so we started here and we went clockwise 90 degrees. And that's actually what we're trying to do. Now, you won't necessarily be able to produce this doing that, but it is a good way to check your work. I think, it helps. So again, when we're doing this, so when you say xy becomes y negative x, what you're saying is, or what you're going to do is you're going to flip them, and then whatever's here, change that sign. That's the basic gist of it. Now with a 90 degree, so I'm going to go to the number 9. So with a 90 degree counterclockwise, which is actually the same as a 270 clockwise, so again, that's something to make sure you remember. So that's the same thing as a 270 degree counterclockwise. I put CCW for counterclockwise. So the rule for that, though, is that xy will become negative y x. So the difference in this and the other one was, notice xy became y negative x, but now it's going to become negative y x. So you're still switching the x and y, but now this one's changing sign rather than the other one. So first let's list the points. So I'm going to list the points h, w, q, and z. So h is what? Negative 5, negative 1. W is negative 4, 0. Q is negative 5, negative 3. And Z is negative 3, negative 3. Alright, so what you're going to do is I'm going to flip them again. So I know H prime is going to become negative 1, negative 5. But, again, because it's negative y here, I know I'm going to change this sign. So I'm doing the same thing, I flip them, but then I change the sign of the first one rather than the second one. So negative 4, 0 becomes 0 and negative 4. And then I change this sign, but since it's 0, there's nothing to change. Negative 5, negative 3, negative 3, negative 5. So again, I'm flipping them and then changing that sign. Negative 3, negative 3. When I flip them, same thing. Then I change that sign. Okay, I'm kind of going a little bit quick. But again, you flip, and then once you flip it, change that sign. That's basically the gist of it. So when I graph this 1, negative 5, that would become H prime. 0, negative 4, that is, what is that? W prime. 3, negative 5, 3, negative 5 is Q prime. And 3, negative 3 is Z prime. And again, you can check your work. If I was to do W, because that would actually be the easiest, if I went from W to the origin, and from the origin to W prime, notice, I've just went counterclockwise 90 degrees. Now the last one I'm going to do is number 10, and I'm going to try to do this quickly. The bell may ring, so if you hear a loud ring, that's what that is. But 180 to me is the easier of the three, because the rule here is that xy becomes negative x, negative y. And all that means is, whatever the point is, change both of their signs. So let's write this out. I'm actually going to write them out down here. So let me see if I can't focus this. Okay, I guess that's the best it's going to get. Okay, so let's list the points of J. Oh, there you go. J, I think that's, can't tell if that's an F or E. So J is 5, 5, I think. F is 3, 4. And Y is 3, 1. So for this rule, all I'm doing is changing all the signs. So J prime will just become negative 5, negative 5. F prime will become negative 3, negative 4. And Y prime will become negative 3, negative 1. And then I graph those points, negative 5, negative 5. I'm trying to do this quickly before the bell rings. Negative 3, negative 1, 2, 3, 4. And negative 3, negative 1. With something like that. Now, I do want to make sure this is clear. This does not mean that they become all negative. That just happened to happen in this circumstance. But let's imagine this was 5, negative 5. But then it would become negative 5, positive 5. So this rule means that they change signs. It does not mean they become negative. Now, if they're positive, then they will become negative. But if they were negative initially, then they will become positive. So hopefully this helps. I know it's a long video, but this is my rotation video, and if you have any more questions, please let me know.